This is Kelly Ward, and we're starting with the third edition of Pages of Profits, the book selling course we are doing here at the eCom Sellers Academy. This session is going to be over advanced book selling tips and secrets. A little about me. My name is Kelly Ward, the ecom mom. I live in Houston, Texas with my husband and my 4 children. I've been a nurse for over 20 years, but I've always loved books. I grew up just reading book after book after book. Took my kids to the library when they were babies so they would, hopefully learn to like books as much as I do. But once I found you could sell used books online, that got me into selling to Amazon, and eventually I sell them on other marketplaces too. So today we're going over advanced book selling. We went over the basics the last 2 sessions. This is more for once you become comfortable with doing the basics, then you can go on to how to make more money with book selling. So we're going to talk about what advanced equipment you can start using. We're going to talk about the advanced sourcing techniques and online sourcing and things like sourcing for school and textbooks. I just want to say when you're selling online, the only luck you have selling online is taking what you've learned under correct knowledge and applying it. So I can tell you all these things, but if you don't apply it, it's not going to help you. So let's get going and learn some stuff you can apply and start selling this week. So we're going to talk about the advanced sourcing equipment. A good tip to save on some equipment is check out eBay, or there's online book selling groups like on Facebook and on online blogs and stuff from other booksellers. And sometimes they might upgrade their equipment and might sell you their older equipment that's still good at a lower price, so that it's not so much of a big chunk of change when you're trying to get all this equipment. So we have advanced sourcing equipment. We got the Bluetooth barcode scanner. This is you might have seen people in the thrift stores with these little scanners or at book sales or such. And they're just flying through books going boop, 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 boop. And just, they have the app, the Scout IQ app, and it has these triggers set to let them know before they, without even looking, if that's a good book or not, because they had their parameters set on this app. So they can scan a whole lot faster than just using the Amazon sellers app, where you have to scan, take a look, decide for yourself if that rank is good enough, if that price is good enough, does it fit your set ideas of what you want to sell that book at. So there's the KDC scanners, there's the Socket, there's a bunch of different Bluetooth barcode scanners out there that people use. And then there's the Scout IQ app, which is very recommended by booksellers because they can set that parameter, and they'll have their little headphones on and be just scanning away until they find a book and then put it in their cart without even really looking. And then also a portable folding cart. This is you're like, why would I need that? If you go to a book sale and you come out with 4 heavy bags of books, it's better to have that cart instead of trying to drag all 4 of those bags at one time, because you're going to hurt your back that way. So keep your back safe and have some nice folding carts or something in your car to help you carry all those books in. Now we're going to talk about some advanced office equipment. There's also a barcode scanner you can get to hook to your computer, and you just scan the barcodes of the book instead of trying to look the book up in the Seller Central, or if you're going to use a inventory listing software in that software play, you just use that little scanner. You just scan it like your phone, and boop, it brings it up instead of having to type in the ISBN number to make sure you're getting the right edition or anything. Barcode scanners, they're not very expensive. You can probably pick one up for $20 off of Amazon. So If you want to get it for not book selling, that's another good, thing. If you don't have, you could don't have to type stuff in, you can find it right then. A thermal printer. I've been selling online since 2015. I just got a thermal printer this year. I love it. Um, you don't have to worry about ink. You just tell it to print your shipping label or your Amazon label, and it prints up. Just pull off your um, label and put it on your item. There's lots of different ones. There's Dymos, there's Zebras, there's Rollo, there's Brother. Um, it's just whatever you prefer, and sometimes it depends on if you have like an inventory listing software like Inventory Lab or uh, Scan Lister. They might require that you use a certain thermal printer that works with their software. Like with Inventory Lab, you can only use Dymo or Brother or Zebra. You can't use Rollo. It just depends on what your listing software can use. And then inventory listing software, there's lots of different ones. I use Inventory Lab. I just like it because it gives you more accounting information too. So these listing softwares do other things besides just listing your books and or your inventory. It helps you with accounting, and you can see what stores you're most profitable with, which ones you're not as profitable with, what's your highest selling category. So now we're going over to the advanced sourcing techniques. We're going to find those books before they hit the thrift stores, because lots of thrift stores are starting to scan books. Goodwills are already scanning books. I can tell you that in the last couple of years, I have gotten a decrease in the amount of books I've been getting from the Goodwill because they've been scanning their own books. And I'm not finding as much at the Goodwill. I go to other thrift stores like the little mom and pop thrift stores and find books, but the Goodwill is not as good anymore because they're scanning books and selling on Amazon themselves. So we're going to start with local advertising. You can advertise in your newspaper, online, like a Craigslist in your local, they have like Craigslist for your area. And maybe you want to get a little magnet, put it on your vehicle saying, I buy books, and then have a phone number. You can get like a Google Voice phone number so you don't have to give out your personal phone number, and just say, and people can call and say, I have a bunch of books, and you can get a lot of books that way. Carry business cards or flyers. This is great for like if you go to estate sales and you tell them, and they have a big old bookshelf full of books, and you can tell them when you go there, hey, I sell books. If you don't want, if after the sale, if you want me to take all these books away, here's my business card. And then you can make out flyers and say, this is the kind of books I'm looking for, so that you're not getting just boxes of old romance books or old sci-fi novels that, aren't worth anything. You can put on that flyer, I'm looking for this book, this kind of book, this kind of book. I'm looking for religious books. I'm looking for cookbooks. You put on there what you're looking for. There's also local business networking meeting groups. This is wonderful. I've been a member of one for a couple years. You can go there, and usually it's there's like real estate people. There's people who have organizing business. There's people who are property management, that kind of local businesses. And you can say, hey, I sell stuff online, and if you have some stuff that your person who's selling their house doesn't want anymore, send them my way. Maybe we can I can help them out. And so you're helping their customer, and you're also helping yourself getting more inventory, because you're buying whatever that customer doesn't want anymore. And it makes them happy because they don't have to move another 10 boxes of books because you bought them. And also word of mouth. I mean, I've told my doctor what I do, and He was saying, "Oh, I have some books for you if you want to look at them." He told me that today when I saw him. So just letting people know what you do. Maybe someone, a friend of a friend, your friend hears that their friend is moving and they have a bunch of books. And they can go, "Hey, I know someone who sells books," and they can bring you together. So it's bringing those kind of relationships that helps your business grow, and it helps people, helps solve a problem that someone has. You can buy books bulk online. There's lots of online wholesalers. You just have to search them. Where and in the eCom Sellers Academy, there we have some wholesale lists. You could try your local paper recycling centers if they don't already have someone who's buying up their books, because they can't recycle the books because of the glue that's in the bindings and stuff. They can't really use that for recycling. So you just go up and talk to the person, all they could tell you is no. So, and you could buy books by Gaylords. Gaylords is a huge box. You have to have enough room. This is not something you do if you live in an apartment, because there's no place for it. I mean, that would take up the whole living room in an apartment, because there's about 900 to 1100 books in one Gaylord. So you need a garage, a warehouse, somewhere where you can store these books so you can go through them. And then you can source books online. If you know there's a book that's has a good rank and sells really good, has a high price on Amazon, look on eBay. Look for books on Facebook Marketplace. Look, take advantage of all the little apps, Mercari, OfferUp. People might be selling their books on there. And with eBay, you can save searches, and whenever someone lists that item, you get an email, or it pops up on your screen on eBay, so that hey, here's some new listings of this item, and you can see. I will have to say, with eBay, you do have to watch, because people will put textbooks on there, but it is the downloadable version of textbooks. So you're like, "Oh, I get this textbook for only $20, and it's selling for 160 on Amazon," but you don't realize until you have to read a description that this is not a physical book. It is just the downloadable version of the book. So this is what we're going to talk about sourcing for school. Textbooks are a very big market. There's like 2 textbook seasons in the year. It's August, when college is starting, and then January, where the second semester is starting. Usually there's a little bump for the summer session, but not as big as the fall and spring semesters of college. So when you find a textbook, you scan it. You got to make sure that if it's off season, the rank might be a little bit high. But you have to make sure that this is not an out-of-date textbook. Because if they're on edition number 12 and you found edition number 4, no one's going to be using that. They might go back to as far back as being able to use the 10th edition, but especially with like computer science and those kind of books, with all the information that's changing all the time, those older editions are not good anymore. So you have to make sure you have a newer edition that so that it will sell. I mean, you could put a 4th edition on there, but it's going to sit there and not sell. And don't forget about required reading books for school-age children. Stuff like, if you remember going to school and you had to have To Kill a Mockingbird, you had to have Tom Sawyer, you had to have, those books, they sell quickly. I sell so many copies of these books. anytime I see them at the bookstore, if I can get them really cheap, I'll take them. I'll just put them merchant fulfilled, and they'll fly out around, this time of year during the summer when they got to have their summer reading. Those books just fly off the shelves because, the parents do not want to have to search through the thrift store to find the book, and they have to buy so many books that might as well get it for, used copy of it. So if you don't know what books, you can ask your children if they're in school, hey, what's the reading book, for this year? What's your reading list? So what list to kind of look for. It might vary different, throughout the United States or wherever. So you can find, maybe your cousin lives in the other side of this nation, and you're like, hey, what's little Joey reading? So you can, see what books they're looking for. So you can kind of get a list of different books for different ages. And maybe your next door neighbor has a child who's a senior and your child's in 6th grade. So you can find out what the seniors you're reading. Just find out from different parents, what books does your child need for school? And that kind of gives you a list of what books to kind of look for when you're out sourcing. And we're going to kind of slightly go over this, hiring some help. I haven't hired anyone myself, but I know people who do hire, helpers. But it frees up your time and it gives you more eyes out there getting you more books. So you can hire someone to do sourcing for you, or maybe you don't mind doing sourcing, but you don't like the listing. So if I hire someone to do the listing for you, and if you want, you can do it as make them as independent contractors, so they're not technically an employee of your company. You'd have to go, talk to a CPA and everything about that, how to set that up. But you could pay them, by the book, like for every book you list, I'll give you this amount of money. But you just have to remember that in your profit, that adds on to the cost of goods because of you paying your lister, you pay $1 a book, every book you find, I'll give you $1. So you have to remember that. And you need to have your SOPs, your standing operating processes set in place before you hire anyone, so that it's all the same across the board. So if you hire someone and they don't work out, the next person comes out and you already have the SOPs set there, so that you can say, here's my manual of how everything is done. And so you want to keep it the same so that you get the same results as that you are looking for before with everybody. Next slide, please. So thank you for joining us this evening. So good luck on starting your book selling business. I hope you'll use this training to go out and start a profitable selling business. And for more great information, we have a lot of awesome courses available, and we have one-on-one help available. We'll be here to help you. And y'all have a good night.